called May 13th, 2019 meeting of the North Carolina State Board of Education. I'm Eric Davis, chair of the board, and I call this meeting to order. I now ask Dr. Townsend Smith to call the roll to determine that we have a quorum of the board participating, and I note to all listening that a quorum is 7 members. Dr. Townsend Smith.
Yes, sir. Mr. Buxton?
Here.
Dr. Oxendine?
Present.
Ms. Kamnitz? Mr. Keenan?
Here.
Ms. White?
Here.
Treasurer Falwell?
Present.
Has joined the conference.
Vice Chair Duncan?
Here.
Ms. Kamnitz?
Here.
Chair Davis?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Dr. Townsend Smith. Board members are reminded that it's our duty to avoid conflicts of interest and the appearance of conflicts of interest as we handle the work of this board. Does any member of the board know of any conflict of interest or any appearance of conflict with respect to any matters coming before us at this meeting? If so, please state for the record.
Joined the conference.
And if during the course of the meeting you become aware of an actual or apparent conflict of interest, please bring the matter to the attention of the chair. It will then be your duty to abstain from participating in discussion on the matter and from voting on the matter. Board members, you've seen the agenda for this May 13, 2019 meeting and had the opportunity to review it. Ask if there are any requests for changes to the agenda, and if not, seek a motion for approval of the agenda as presented. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Dr. Oxendine. Is there a second?
Second. David.
Second by Mr. Buxton. Dr. Townsend Smith, will you call the roll to capture the vote?
Yes. Mr. Buxton?
Yes.
Dr. Oxendine?
Yes.
Ms. Kamnitz?
Yes.
Mr. Keenan?
Here.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Treasurer Falwell? Treasurer Falwell? Vice Chair Duncan?
Yes.
Chair Davis?
Yes. Motion carries. We have an agenda. Thank you, board members. I note for the record the board will take a roll call vote on all items requiring action on the agenda. And we'll now proceed directly to our committee meetings, which will begin with the Education, Innovation, and Charter Schools Committee, and I'll call on Ms. Amy White, Chair of the EICS Committee. Ms. White.
Thank you, Chair Davis. Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule today to join us for the items on the board meeting agenda. Today, we have several items for action and discussion under the Education, Innovation, and Charter School Committee. So pleased and honored to be able to share that role with Ms. Jill Kamnitz there. So we've got 2 items for action, one for discussion and a couple for consent. The first item for first read is EICS 1. This is the request by North Carolina Connection Academy, one of our state's 2
Joined the conference.
to request to terminate its partnership with its management company. Board members
Has joined the conference.
had quite a lengthy discussion about this request at our last board meeting. We, by ourselves, decided that we really wanted the Charter School Advisory Board to give us a recommendation. And so I know Alex Quigley is on the call and here to offer any comments about that meeting, but I do want to let you know that the CSAB did recommend approval of the amendment, and they added the stipulations which I feel capture all of the concerns that we voiced at the table. Those stipulations include an Equality Virtual Education Board representative will attend the monthly CSAB meetings until which time the CSAB determines that it is no longer necessary. And 2, that the North Carolina Quality Virtual Education Board provides any information as requested by the Office of Charter Schools. These 2 stipulations address the concerns that we voiced at the table regarding the current board's ability to manage multiple vendors in lieu of Pearson PPL, which was the North Carolina Connection Academy's previous operator. I'll ask you if you have any questions, and then Alex Quigley is again available for questions. Okay, wonderful. Hearing none, we will move on to EICS 2, Lake Lure Classical Academy's request to terminate affiliation with Team CFA. Here again, we have a charter school who's looking to terminate its affiliation agreement. In this case, it's Challenge Foundation Academy, Team CFA. Along with the affiliation separation, the school's name is also going to change from Lake Lure Classical
Has joined the conference.
to a Challenge Foundation Academy to Lake Lure Classical Academy. This is a school that's in Rutherford County, and by the notes provided on this particular issue, Lake Lure Classical is not exploring affiliations with any other management company, so they are going to assume responsibility for operation of the school as a whole. And so this is coming before you as a recommendation for approval. Any questions on this? Again, I have
A
Alex.
participant has joined the conference.
Ms. White, this is Olivia Oxendine. Just a quick question.
Yes, Dr. Einstein.
Yes, Mr. Quigley, and I would like to know how the CSAB feels about the capacity of this school assuming these new responsibilities.
And we're talking about Lake Lure in this instance?
Yes.
Yeah, Team CFA's, their responsibilities and duties are fairly limited to, especially once a school is up and off the ground. So it's some training. They have a board member that sits on the board and manages their website, helps with marketing. So the feeling was that the school is fully able at this point to handle it. It's kind of operational and in governance affairs independently, and should be allowed to do so if that's what they choose. We've had I believe there's been at least one and maybe two other schools that have started with Team CFA, but then broke from that relationship and have are doing fine. I believe Dave Machado's school, that might be one of those.
Okay, very good. So really no concerns about with respect to this particular school.
No.
No grievance with Team CFA. Just feeling that it's time that they can have capacity to go it alone.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. White, thank you.
Yes. Any other questions?
Can we go back to the first one for 1 minute? I have one question on that.
Yes, sir.
Did CSAP review the capabilities of the parties that would come in to provide the services? I understand it was potentially one or more parties coming in to provide the services, that they in fact can provide the services at a level that is satisfactory to the CSAP board?
Yes, we did. At the prior meeting, and then we also benefited from some of the documentation that Eric Snyder requested on your behalf. But we reviewed the documentation. We also discussed the vendors at the prior meeting and asked some additional questions. So we feel, based on the documentation we've seen and the conversation with the board, we feel confident that the vendors, as far as we can ascertain from that meeting, they were able to cite specific examples of schools where they've provided these types of services. I think obviously this is a huge undertaking on part of the board and the school's leadership, and I think we are going to kind of be able to test their capacity over time with them coming before us each month. So I have some ideas myself, and I'm sure the Office of the Charter Schools as well has some ideas for next steps on what are we asking the school for to provide in terms of their transition plan, and making sure that everything is going to happen smoothly over the next few months while they execute this transition. So that's why I think the stipulation, we considered some different stipulations. We landed on this because it frankly just gives us flexibility to see them, to question them, to ask for different types of evidence to ensure that things are happening effectively, rather than say one specific area.
So if you got to a place where you didn't think those monthly meetings were necessary, would you come back to the state board to advise that you would not be continuing to do that and the reasons why you had reached a point of satisfaction? Is that something that would be incorporated in this plan?
Yes, absolutely. I think that would make a lot of sense for us to, say, okay, we feel like things are going smoothly and we don't need to have these meetings any longer. But I think in the short term, it's imperative that they account for their actions and their plan, and that we also are educating ourselves because again, this is a break from a major management company in a very unique type of charter school situation, obviously with 2,500 students. So there's a lot for us even to learn as a board in the process.
Would it be possible perhaps to have quarterly reports during the time that these are going on, just so we can stay in tune with the work that y'all are doing?
Absolutely.
I mean brief reports. I don't mean lengthy, unless necessary.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a great idea. Absolutely.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Quigley and Vice Chair Duncan, we could add a friendly amendment to the stipulations and request that the Charter School Advisory Board provide in writing quarterly an update regarding their performance and operations of North Carolina Connection. That way it wouldn't be too cumbersome, but we would be continually informed until no longer needed. Does that help you, Mr. Duncan?
Yes, that would be great if we could do that.
Yeah, I would expect my board would be fine with that. I don't see any reason. Ultimately, it's y'all's decision.
Okay, so Mr. Chair and Dr. Deanna Townsend-Smith, if board members are amenable, we'll add a third stipulation to that recommendation, and that third stipulation will be that the Charter School Advisory Board provide quarterly updates in writing to the State Board of Education regarding the operation and performance of Connection Academy.
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
Without objection, so ordered.
Great. Does anyone else have questions on the two items on action on first read? Thank y'all for being so wonderful this morning. Let's move to discussion. This is EICS 3, and this is your recommendation for Ready to Open. If you'll remember, Ready to Open means that the nonprofit boards of each charter school have been approved by CSAB during our State Board of Education adopted planning program to open. It's the year before the school actually opens, so this is a year that they have to get it in gear to prepare for the next year's academic year. And there are 14 schools before you that have been approved for Ready to Open status. They are Apprentice Academy High School, Blue Green Academy, Bonnie Cone Classical, Carolina Charter Academy, Discover Charter, Hobgood Charter, Monroe Charter, Pocosin Innovative, Ridgeview Charter, Southwest Charter STEM, Steel Creek Prep, Team CFA Community Public Charter, Tillery Charter Academy, and Westlake Prep Academy. Those 14 schools have been recommended for Ready to Open. Does any board member have a question about any of those schools at this time?
I have a quick question. I'm wondering, did any one of the schools pose any extreme difficulties or unusual barriers in this RTO process? Does any school stand out? I would imagine the RTO process is grueling anyway.
Good morning, board members. This is Ashley Beccaro with the Office of Charter Schools. Thank you for that question. As all of the schools have been turning in their materials as expected, and there have not been any, difficulties or challenges in terms of working with the schools. The final RTO report is due at the end of May, and so that will give our office much more information in terms of enrollment, progress in the remaining items that we look for during the progress report period.
All right, very good. And I'm sorry, I did not get the person who's responding.
Ashley Beccaro with the Office of Charter Schools.
Thank you very much. That was on the spot. I guess the reason for my question is if any school would have posed some challenges, I would think that might be a reason to pay close attention to them out of the Office of Charter Schools during year one implementation. It was just a question of curiosity I had.
Absolutely, and after that final May RTO report, we decide as an office and in conjunction with the Charter School Advisory Board, which schools need to appear before the CSAB in June, before they make their final recommendations to you, so that you may vote with as much information as possible in July.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Yeah, JB?
JB.
question?
Yes, JB. First off, just a comment on my appreciation for the comprehensiveness of the Ready to Open progress report and Evans checklist. I mean, it's when you all come to us with a unanimous recommendation based on ongoing monitoring against this checklist, I think we know it's comprehensive. This is just a information request. How many of these folks are using weighted lotteries?
Off the top of my head right now, I do not know the exact number. Several of the schools are actually in the process of requesting a weighted lottery. We could get you the exact number, but I can tell you that I know Poquoson is in the process of requesting a weighted lottery. Tillery Charter Academy, Hobgood Charter School. So there are several in coordination with applying for the CSP grants that are applying for, or that are also, amending their charter application for a weighted lottery.
Right. Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Excellent. Any other questions regarding these 14 schools? Okay, well, we will look forward to hearing the recommendations in partnership from the Office of Charter Schools as these schools prepare their final documentation at the end of May. Board members, this item will be an action item at the June board meeting. So thanks for that. Okay, there's 4 quick items for consent. EICS 4, Invest Collegiate Imagines school request to implement a weighted lottery. Any questions on that? Okay. EICS 5 is Movement East request to implement a weighted lottery. Questions? Next one is EICS 6, the State Board of Education.
Treasurer Falwell
has left the conference.
Ms. Turner has served with the Charter School Advisory Board previously, and she's being reappointed. Any questions about her reappointment? Okay. And then EICS 7 is Pitt County Restart application submission, and we saw this at a previous meeting. Anybody have a question about that restart application? Hearing none, Mr. Chair, that concludes all of the items on our agenda this morning. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Ms. White. And I now ask for a motion to approve EICS 1 as action on first reading as amended, EICS 2 action on first reading, EICS 4 through 7 consent items. Is there a motion to that effect?
Mr. Chair, this is Mrs. White, and I move approval on these items as presented.
Motion by Ms. White. Is there a second?
I second. This is Ms. Camden.
Second by Ms. Kamnitz. Any discussion on these items? Hearing none, I ask Dr. Townsend Smith to call the roll to capture the vote.
Yes, sir. Mr. Buxton,
Yes.
Dr. Oxendine,
Yes.
Ms. Kamnitz,
Yes.
Mr. Keenan,
Yes.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Treasurer Falwell, Vice Chair Duncan,
Yes.
Chair Davis.
Yes.
Yeah, it's unanimous.
Thank you, Dr. Townsend Smith. Motion carries. Board members, this concludes our committee reports, and I now ask for a motion to go into closed session, and note for the audience that the meeting will adjourn at the conclusion of closed session. Vice Chair Duncan?
I move that the State Board of Education go into closed session to consult with our attorneys on attorney-client privilege matters and to discuss information as privileged and confidential pursuant to 09 NCAC 06B, period 0103, confidentiality of
Has left the
presentation
conference.
documents, and 09 NCAC 06B, 0309, evaluation.
Motion by Vice Chair Duncan. Is there a second?
Second, Olivia Oxendine.
Second by Dr. Oxendine. Dr. Townsend Smith, will you call the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Buxton,
Yes.
Julie. Has left the conference.
Dr. Oxendine,
Yes.
Ms. Kamnitz,
Yes.
Mr. Keenan,
Yes.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Vice Chair Duncan,
Yes.
Chair Davis.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Alex.
Motion carried. I now
Has
ask
left the conference.
all board members and those who are participating in closed session to call back in. We will start closed session at 9:10. So let's call back in and be ready to
A
go at
participant
9:10.
has left the conference.
Thank you.
Ms. Camden.
Has left the conference.
Chair Davis.
Has left